A nurse switched me at birth, but my 6-year-old brother switched me back. 25 years later, she showed up claiming, I'm the imposter 25 years ago. A maternity nurse secretly switched me out for her daughter. Unfortunately for her, my 6-year-old brother saw this and secretly switched me back. 25 years later, the maternity nurse comes knocking with her actual daughter by her side. She accuses me, the heiress of Crawford Group, of being an imposter. The company's janitor starts insulting me and insinuates that my lipstick is a cheap imitation. And here I thought you were the heiress of the Crawford family. You can't even compare to a hair on Pammy's head when the DNA test results are out. Everyone is stunned. That wretch bewitched me, Lorraine. Please forgive me, give me another chance. My boyfriend cries. I look at him icily. Another chance to do what? To clean the toilets. I had just stepped into the office restroom when I ran into Pamela Jones, the new janitor. As soon as she saw me, her gaze dropped to the hand I was using to reapply my lipstick. I never would have guessed that someone of your status would use something so cheap, Pamela commented, her tone dripping with mockery. Miss Crawford, that lipstick of yours costs $19.90 for 3 and comes with a gift box. I was taken aback. That was impossible. This was the lipstick my boyfriend, Trevor Freeman, had bought for me. He had told me that it was an exclusive brand and that 3 of them cost $200. Pamela seemed to realize she had crossed a line when she noticed the change in my expression. She then quickly turned and walked away. The moment I emerged from the restroom, I came face to face with Willow Shaw, her face twisted with fury as she stood by the mother and baby care room door. I had never seen her so angry before, so I quietly asked her what had happened in an instant. Her words spilled out in a furious rant. I went in to change my baby's diaper and guess what I found? He used contraceptive on the changing table. Who on earth would do something so disgusting? This is infuriating. What if that person has some kind of disease? As the company's vice president, my anger boiled over as I listened to her account. I immediately called security and instructed them to review the surveillance footage to identify who was responsible. Once I gave the order, I headed toward Trevor's office, intending to vent about the absurdity of the situation. But when I entered, I froze. Pamela, wearing a slightly see-through deep blouse, was mopping the floor. The neckline plunged so low that her bosom was almost exposed. Trevor glanced up at me and his expression shifted to one of panic. Hastily wiping away the blood from his nose, he muttered, "The air is so dry. I think I need to get a humidifier." Then he added, "I was so focused on work that I didn't hear you knock Lorella." I had never doubted Trevor's words before. After all, we had been together since university and were a couple for 8 years. "Have you forgotten I don't knock when I come to your office?" I replied almost immediately. His nervousness was palpable. A knot of suspicion began to form in my stomach, but Pamela cut in before I could press further. "Miss Crawford, you really should buy your makeup from proper stores. Don't go for cheap deals on Amazon. You shouldn't skimp on what you put on your face after all," she remarked, her tone full of scorn. I froze momentarily at her comment. It took me a moment to realize that she was talking about my lipstick. Trevor had given it to me for Valentine's Day, hence, there was no way it was a cheap knockoff. Since he was present, I figured that it was the perfect opportunity to clear things up. However, he interjected before I could say anything. "Lorella, the proposal you mentioned earlier was good, but I think it could use a few adjustments." His statement distracted me and I glanced around the desk for a pen, yet there wasn't one in sight. Pamela, on the other hand, eagerly volunteered to help. As she reached for the pen, she tripped and stumbled straight into Trevor's arms. Her blouse strained with the impact and a button popped open. Her bosom was instantly fully exposed. Trevor fumbled awkwardly at that sight, trying to help her with the button. But the more nervous he got, the worse the situation seemed to spiral out of control. Flustered, Pamela tried to fix it herself too. Unfortunately, it only made things worse. At that moment, her uneven breathing was the only sound that filled the air. I stared at Trevor and Pamela, who were still tangled together in such an intimate position. Something was off, so I cleared my throat loudly. Suddenly, Trevor snapped back to reality and shoved Pamela aside.